told you I found you a perfect match. Chosen by science, but you had to marry them right this second. You would tell me, well, that sounds pretty whack. And I would add, you have 8 weeks to know if you really love them. You just got married at first sight. Jason and Aysha gonna tell you wrong from right. Are all these couples just disasters waiting to happen? Imagine if one of them could be a perfect match.
Welcome to A Perfect Match, a Married at First Sight podcast, where today we'll be talking about Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 10. I am Jason Reed, one of your co-hosts. With me, someone who, even when we're not podcasting together, even when we're not talking, we're spending quality time together. It's Aysha Welch. Aysha, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing lovely. I know you wanted to ask, but I'm going to do it very unprompted. Okay, on a scale from 1 to 10, as my podcast co-host, I think I'll give you a 10.
Oh my gosh, I'm so flattered. I know we rate each other all the time. I just text you random ratings all the time. The 10 is great. I'd probably give you like 6.5, to be honest with you.
Oh,
So you got some work
tough.
to do. You got some work to do.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Welcome, guys. We are here to talk about Married at First Sight, episode 10 of season 16. We've reached, would you say, a hump or a lull? What would you even call this point in the season?
I think this is a point where we're kind of coasting a little bit. We are back from the honeymoons. We're kind of, humming along, coasting along, and we're in the kind of a lull is good. I think we're getting our used to our daily routines. We're seeing what daily life is like for our couples, and it's not groundbreaking entertainment. I'll say that, but there's definitely interesting things to talk about here, interesting things to like parse out of this episode. So it wasn't a total dud, but it just wasn't explosive. Like for season 14 in Boston, that was an explosive season. Almost every episode something explosive was happening. We had a fight, we had a new argument. This so far we've been kind of not even smooth sailing because we don't have a lot of successful couples here. Let's just put it out there. Yeah. But we've just been kind of coasting along. So next week is the 1 month anniversaries. So that usually gives us something.
Yeah, it was just, this episode just had me feeling like, what are we doing here? Like, I know it's 5.5 weeks left, but I want to say even in season 13, the Houston season episode 10 might have been the one where they went away to the retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And, Michaela, the Michaela of it all.
The Michaela Storm.
Right. I remember that was one of the very few episodes where I just watched the episode, no notes, no nothing, because I just wanted to thoroughly enjoy it.
Want to take it all in.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm just really hoping that this isn't the trend that we see for the next 10 episodes, because it wasn't that exciting.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't, and it doesn't help that it just feels like 3 out of these now 4 couples are just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I'll say 2 out of the 4 they're just going with the flow. I'll say Shaq and Kirsten are trying, I guess.
Used very loosely.
Yeah, very loosely, but it feels like Clint and Gina for sure are just kind of like, we're here for another this is week 3. We're here for another 5 weeks. Let's just get this. Let's just run this thing out and be on our merry ways afterwards.
Right. Yeah, but we'll get into it. If you are here and you're listening to the audio version only, we are also on YouTube. So if you want to put a face to a name or a face to a voice, you can catch us on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. And then also just make sure you go subscribe to our Love at First Sight feed. That's where you can get all of our podcasts for A Perfect Match. And we really appreciate if you leave us a 5-star rating and review. So we are going to shout out a couple. So the first one I'm going to shout out from Apple Podcasts. This is from Mags at 09. It's titled Love in the Pod. They said, love listening to the podcast every week. I enjoy what Jason and Aysha have to say about each couple and the playful bickering that happens between them. I enjoy the show, but the podcast is definitely better. Thank you.
Playful
And
bickering. Our dynamic gets described a lot.
yeah,
I think playful bickering is a good one. I like
that
that.
is, that's pretty spot on. I'd say that's accurate. Um, I told someone recently, I was like, yeah, Jason's like the big brother I never had. So,
Aw, you're definitely a little sister I like to embarrass and make fun of.
right. If we were in person, you'd give me like a noogie.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this week I want to check back in with our Canadian listeners. We have gotten a couple of Canadian reviews recently, so I wanted to check in and read those. I know our Canadians don't get the spotlight a lot. I mean, there's not a lot of reviews. So Canadians, come on, bring your game, bring your A game, lose more reviews. We have 2 reviews I want to read that we got recently. One is from February 18th. It's from Burton's Girl. The title is "A Perfect Match is the best MAFS podcast with the perfect hosts." If you love hearing MAFS, A Perfect Match podcast with hosts Aysha and Jason, you'll adore watching them on YouTube. Their chemistry, friendship, and mutual respect is tangible. The humor that they inject in the sometimes very slow-moving train wreck that MAFS can be sometimes makes their podcast a must-listen every week. It's like listening to old friends banter and tease each other. Keep up the great work. Burton, you've done well with your girl here, because that was a fantastic review. I would give that review 5 stars.
Yes, absolutely. 10 out of 10.
Yes, for sure. So thank you so much for that, Burton's Girl. We have another one from Elise and Susan in Toronto. It's titled "Love This Podcast." Canadian fans of the podcast, my mom and I love listening to you. Well, Elise and Susan, we love bringing the podcast to you. Thank you so much for that review. Really appreciate it. Canadians, come on, bring some more. We love it. I'll check in every week to see what you guys bring us, and I'll bring it to the podcast. And any other countries, if you guys have made a review, let us know and I'll check it, because I have a way to check it, and I'll bring it here to the podcast so you can hear it said on the podcast.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's a way to track how, our listens. And I definitely have seen us charting in countries. I did not think that people have heard our voice before.
For
So
sure.
that's always very exciting to see. But then we also have a great time over in Facebook. If you have not joined the Facebook group, what are you doing? Go look up A Perfect Match podcast on Facebook, and you can join our 550 plus Facebook group members who are talking about the show during the week, talking about the show while it's on. That's always a fun time. Even if you watch the show after the fact, it's always fun to go back and read and respond to people. But this week, the Facebook group does require a password when you're joining in order to be let in. But this week, the Facebook password is...
It's the 3 F's.
Yeah.
Friends, family. What do you think the third F is?
Foolery.
Yeah, foolery. That's a good one for this podcast. Foolery.
Right, exactly. So 3 F's, or you could do the actual 3 F's from the show, which were friends, family, and food, from our lovely Clint.
Boy, Clint is such an enigma. Like, I don't know how I got to really like Clint now. It's upsetting. His dad humor is, as long as it doesn't border the line too much, is cool. I'm beginning to really like Clint now for some reason.
It's also in comparison, like the fact that he is paired with Gina, and Gina works my nerves a little bit sometimes. Then him right next to her, it's like, oh, he's not that bad.
He's over here trying at least.
Right. I know. It's like where she gets like an F for trying. She's like, but I came to class. No, Gina, you get an F.
It doesn't count for the group presentation if you just stand up there and do nothing.
Right. She's like, where's my participation grade? So make sure you go out there, join the Facebook group. We definitely have a lot of fun. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk about this episode.
We're going to start out with Eris and Jasmine. Eris, call it what you will, comeuppance, karma, has landed with a case of COVID. We come in and it's day 2 of his COVID journey. He says he just has some fatigue. He says,
COVID got your boy.
COVID got your boy. Or as it airs, COVID got your boy. I feel
Falls asleep.
I feel so fatigued. We would never know. He sounds the same as when he is perfectly healthy. COVID got your boy. It's really fatigued. Jasmine's working a lot, so I gotta fend for myself. And, we get Jasmine in a confessional saying she's gonna be there for him as much as she can. She's gonna help him out. Shoot to day 4. Says, Jasmine made me some vegetable soup. Says, in terms of her nursing me back to health, I'd probably give her a 7. We didn't ask.
We no one asked.
Stop it with the ratings.
Stop rating her. He takes every opportunity to show us that he does not think she's a 10 in any aspect.
But she's taking care of you, bro. That's not a cause for rating. You're lucky she's making you anything with how much of an ass you have been. And
the irony
this episode, I'm just like, this man is total trash.
Yeah.
He is terrible.
Absolutely. And that's saying it lightly. The irony though of him consistently, probably for 5 episodes in a row, talking about, I just know when I'm sick, Jasmine will be there for me.
Every
take
episode,
care of me.
He mentions how much she's going to take care of him.
I just know, and then it happens, which sooner than he expects. Where he needs her, she takes care of him, and he 7. Boy,
7.
get out of here.
He is.
She could have made
worst.
you. She could have brought you some soup from Chick-fil-A. No, she made you vegetable soup.
She could have been like, well, I guess I won't see you for another 2 weeks. But I thought it was interesting. We get surveillance of their apartment, and she's just walking around with him. And listen, this could be clever editing, and this could be a shot from another time. But it's how far we've come with COVID. If we think about Michaela and Zach. They had to postpone their honeymoon. She could not be in the same room with him. She was not allowed to be in the same room with him, even if she wanted to be.
Yep. Because you got production.
To Ben and Morgan, who, had to postpone their wedding, couldn't be around him. But now it's just I'm just around him. No face masks, no nothing.
Right.
Just chilling.
I'm aren't you in and out of work?
Aren't you concerned? You're working with children. Are you not at least concerned? It's not just COVID. Right. It's a big deal.
That's why I'm hoping, like you said, I'm hoping that was from a different time. But that's kind of reckless because you're us thinking oh wait, dang, obviously we have the mind, that was literally my first thought was, wait, but she's still going to work and I don't see a mask.
Yeah, exactly. Now, we didn't get a professional shot with the two of them together.
Yeah.
And his when he had COVID, we only saw him doing the diary cams.
True.
After he was over COVID was when we got the the actual cameramen and shooting them again. So who knows what the real story is? But that was the first thought in my head. I was like, she's just walking around next to him, just going along her merry way. She's I don't care if I get COVID. I'm gonna give my man some vegetable soup.
Right. Maybe, this is me just for my own peace of mind. Maybe he was just staying in the second bedroom as long as he was testing positive.
She opens the door, just slides vegetable soup into the door, just closes the door back again. Got you some soup.
And so he just was on the couch after he started testing negative, and maybe he just still wasn't feeling 100%, and that's what they showed us.
That's what we will give them the benefit of the doubt on that, I suppose.
Right.
So after Eris has been cleared of COVID, he really wants to return the favor. So he takes her to, I don't know what this was. Takes her to a pet spa place. Was this a place?
No, it's just at the apartment.
That's what I thought it was. I was like, they have a thing. You would know. You are in the lap of luxury. I'm sure when you had an apartment and it was, they had the pet spa, they had the common room, they had the fitness club. They had all the stuff you could ever need in that in those luxury apartments. But they have a pet spa. I was like, dang, that's That's luxurious.
Those are a thing.
Listen to Asia. She definitely had a pet spa in one of her apartments.
We didn't call it that. It was called something else.
That's what they called it. That's what it was. The pet spa.
Yeah, they called it that on the show, but I think it was labeled as like the dog washing room or something like. So very like straightforward.
Boy, let me tell you,
this was before I had a dog, so I never got to use it.
The lifestyles, the rich and famous. My gosh. God. Boy, I was lucky I ever had a laundry room in my apartment complex. I got a pet spa. Oh my.
Oh. They're a thing.
To be rich in America. So yeah, in order to pay Jasmine back for nursing him back to health, as he puts it, he's going to help her wash Duchess. He's going to help her wash Duchess. He's not going to just wash Duchess. She needs to be there when he's washing Duchess. He says this is also an opportunity for him to bond with Duchess.
This is not a tit for tat. Like This is not how you pay someone back. How he could have paid her back was, you've been taking care of me. Let me treat you to a very nice dinner. Let me treat you to something that you would want to do. She takes Duchess to the groomers. So
yeah, like this isn't. By the end of this, she was like, "That was nice and all, but she's going to the groomers anyway." Right. But yeah, so they're bathing the dog, and Eris just obsessed with ratings. Now is asking her to rate him on his dog bathing skills. She says, "I'll give you about a 6.5 because you're missing a lot of spots here. There's a lot of dried soap on this dog right now." But in a confessional, she does say it does make her happy that, she knows he's not a dog person, but he's doing this anyway. And the more they do together, the more they can progress. And she does say,
that's if there's substance there.
Yeah, she does say she appreciates it, but Duchess will be going to the groomer this week anyway.
Right. I totally agree. Like it's as if I can't even maybe it's as if he was like, "Hey, let me help you do your laundry."
Right.
Like that's something that's a chore she would have been doing anyway. Like if she didn't, wasn't going to do something else.
Let me ride shotgun, something that you're going to do anyway. Yeah, it's not like taking above and beyond and doing something for her. If anything, he's probably just in the way.
Literally, because she's having to correct his what he's doing. Like I get. If I put myself in Eris's shoes, which is rather difficult, I can get how he thought that this was a good thing. He's thinking, she loves Duchess. This is something I could do for Duchess. She might like it.
Never have I ever given a pet a bath. So everybody this week gets some topics to dig deeper with each other. They get a mysterious knock at the door and are left a card with a bunch of topics to talk about. So they start the little deep dive, and they just kind of talk about love. He says, "How many times you fall in love?" He says, "What is it, like 5? Because you say you fall in love so easily." She's like, "No, it's 3."
When he did that the way that triggered something in me, like that immediately, I'm not answering you now. Yeah, you just took away my ability to answer you because you already starting off negative. Why are you like? It's already been such a serious topic between them. It's already a thing. Why are you joking about this and then assuming the extreme? He's making his assumptions when he doesn't know her that well. So it's just like, it's annoying.
It is. It's not something to be that like jovial about when you have described to her in so many ways how much you don't feel anything for her at this moment.
Literally.
So I mean, she gives it back to him. She's like, "Oh, how many times do you? Oh, wait, we know you've never been in love." He asked her, "So with all the times you've been in love and it hasn't worked out, does love scare you?" She says, "Yeah, it does, but you have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. So it does not, these past relationships ending doesn't." Make me shy away from falling in love again or approaching that feeling again. He said he talks about the one time that he almost fell in love, but that person abruptly ended things and that hurt him. So he decided that he didn't want to feel it anymore. So he closed himself off from it. He says, "I don't want to be in my feelings, eating ice cream, listening to R&B in my room." If there's one thing I can say for Eris, is that he has a decent sense of humor. And That's how you dryly deliver humor, Mac, by the way.
Oh, he packed things up. He's at home. He's no longer involved.
Yeah,
So
he can't hear us
not
anymore.
gonna
He's
get that
back.
message.
He's back in Michigan, probably
Right.
in Mummy's loft penthouse or something. I don't know. In a confessional, he talks about, and this annoyed me too. He talks about how the male ego is so small and fragile. And when this happened to me at 28, he said it made me a worse partner because that showed me what happens when you let your wall down. I said, don't bunch me in with you, Eris. Like
we are not the same.
We are not the same person. Talking about the male ego is so small and fragile. I hate when people like generalize things like that. Like, no, that is, you took it to an extreme, Eris. Like, that is not everyone.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's just this like the Eris. It's just that mentality, like the overgeneralizing. Like Eris is the type of person to be like, and this has happened to me before. Just be like, oh, so like, where would you want to get dinner? You women, y'all can't never decide where you want to eat dinner. What?
Women be shopping. Women be shopping. Like
women never know where they want to eat.
It's a bad stand-up routine. It's just like,
yes,
how have we not progressed? And we'll talk about it again when they do this stupid Never Have I Ever game, but in the way that he talks about certain behaviors and certain things. But it's just he's a bad stand-up routine, and it's so annoying and it's so chauvinistic and gross.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, the only Eris that I can tolerate is when he is in a confessional and talking about the other couples. Other than that,
when he's crapping on other people, like that's all like. So he says, anytime I feel myself getting close to those feelings again, I back off, like back to my bachelor lifestyle where I'm comfortable. She says that, she admits that she's a hopeless romantic, but when that happens to her, she just brushes herself off and moves on and doesn't let those past relationships define what she thinks of love. He has the nerve, the unmitigated gall to ask her if she is falling in love in their marriage. She gives him a look too, and she says, I want to, but I'm not there yet because I need more emotional connection than they have right now. They need to have deeper conversations before they can head in that direction.
Eris, what?
So you love me, huh? So you really love me, huh? Like,
you probably already in love, right?
Yeah.
Just what do you stop? What have you even done to grow? She has talked about wanting a deeper emotional connection, wanting to get to know you better, wanting to get to know each other better. There has been nothing that has led her to be like, okay, I feel this deeply for someone. Like, what are you talking about? He's so full of himself for no reason.
Yeah, and he's taken what she said, to him about the attractiveness that she has for him, and has just taken it to the umpteenth degree. Like, oh, she is head over heels. Like I can't say this enough. Like, she's being nice to you. Like, she is saying she's this attracted to you because she wants to get along. So like, I'm sure there's some attraction, but it's not like she can't wait to jump on you. And he sees that. It's like, oh, she's really falling in love with me. Like, no, like, what are you talking about?
I'm gonna pull a Love is Blind season. What was this? Season 3. If Eris and Jasmine previously had walked into a bar, Jasmine would not have looked twice Eris's way.
Yep, true. So true.
That's what he needs to know.
And he would have said, well, she's no smoke show either. Bertice. So they, we come back to them. They're having more, like, they're sitting down again. He says in a confession, he really considers himself a sexual person, and she has been more reserved in the area, and he wants to take this opportunity to play the game that we always tell these people not to ever play. And at least this time it's not in a couples setting. It's now just the two of them, but they play Never Have I Ever, which never leads to anything good on this show.
I feel like in the right situation, like if we think like last season, if Stasha and Nate had done a private Never Have I Ever when they were really in their good place, like they were like being very physical with each other and they were just like getting to know each other, I feel like that would have been appropriate.
Well, yeah, because they were ready to explore each other like
Right.
sexually because
Right.
and just to figure out what you've done. But he basically used this opportunity to shame her, like, which is so bizarre. He says, no, maybe he'll find out something about her that will shock him that he didn't know about her. So the first one is okay. Never have I ever kissed a member of the same sex. She says, oh, she hasn't done that. He's like, what? He literally says to her, you need to start your life over again.
He literally is appalled, as if that is the most shocking thing he's ever going to hear.
It's like, well, you know what, Eris? I didn't see you putting your finger down either. So if it's bad for her, why isn't it bad for you that you haven't done it?
Wait, yeah. And I also hated how this whole game was him saying the never have I evers, and then just like, that's not how you play never have I ever. Yeah. You're supposed to say something you've never done. Everyone else puts their finger down. You move on.
But I wouldn't be surprised if like they did that and they just edited out her part because her parts are all just so tame. Like,
she's probably never have I ever
forgotten a Valentine's Day.
Put soda in a water cup.
Yeah. So maybe that was the case. I don't know. But he's so disgusted that she's never kissed a woman. Like, well, what about you? So that means you kissed a man, right? If it's so crazy that you don't kiss a member of the same sex, right? It's like, oh no, I'm sure if she had even suggested, he'd be like, oh, what are you talking about? That's gay. Like, I wouldn't do that. I'm like, oh, stop it.
My God. He makes my skin crawl. Because for one, he's like fetishizing this. For
just
one.
The male gaze, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And it's like, he's asking these questions he's looking for a specific answer. So if she had said yes, he would have been so happy. He would have been
Pastor Calling it. So tell me more. Be specific. God. Talk slow.
He would have. He definitely would have. So it was just like, this was a whole like, not a bait and switch, but I don't know what I'm looking for. He's trying to like, he used this whole thing, starting with this question, to shame her, to make it seem like she just hasn't lived.
Yeah, I mean, he's so like upset with her because she hasn't been wilder in her life, and it's so creepy and so gross. So the next one, he says, so I never have I ever had sex with someone watching. She says, she like turns us like, so you, because he doesn't put his finger down or whatever. She's like, so you've never had a threesome? I was like, okay, that's weird. He says, well, more of an orgy, which shocks her. Like, she's like, oh my God. She's like, why did this man say this? In a confessional, she says she is not interested in learning these things about him. She doesn't know why he did this. Like, she doesn't want to know. And then he starts in his confessional detailing what an orgy is and how they went about it, how he and another guy switched partners. The producer, for some reason, asked him how many he's been to. He's like, he just grins.
No answer in sight.
Yeah, and Jasmine says again, she's fine not knowing how many orgies he's had. Like, she doesn't need to know.
Because, oh my goodness. And on After Party, she did say, she's like, one thing about Aries, I don't ever have to wonder what he's thinking. But sometimes I just wish, instead of saying the 3 sentences, he would just say 2, because the third always goes overboard.
So out of pocket. So it's not over, folks. The next one, he asks, have I ever had a one night stand? She has never. He is so disappointed. He's like, what? He's like, you should have done that before you got married. Get it out of your system. I was like, oh my God, stop. Next one, never have I ever cheated. She says, in a relationship? No, Jasmine, at board games. Yes, in a relationship.
On an exam?
Yeah. She says, no, I haven't. He is again disgusted, disappointed. He says, your life sounds boring. She says, because I've never cheated or kissed a girl. He says, yeah, all that sounds fun. It's fun to cheat.
Fun to cheat. I was like, you aren't even thinking about what you're saying in this moment. Like, he does not care. He thinks she's so attracted to him, he can say whatever, and that's not going to change anything. Like, he's at that point where he doesn't have to consider, like, he doesn't have to be considerate of oh, I shouldn't say this, or this is too vulgar, or this may make her think I'm a certain way. He's just like saying it all, doesn't care. And it's just like, her life is so boring because these things you think is like so wild and crazy, and everybody who does it is just living an amazing life. It's like, oh, that's your standard, right? So the fact that she said no to these things, you're disappointed, and all of a sudden you're calling her boring. Like, there's no positive way to spin that. You can't even joke about that because he's serious. He's genuinely shocked about all her answers.
He says, "Oh, he's like says, oh, you haven't lived. You got to start life over. You're so boring." Like, dude, this should be who you want, Eris. Like, I mean, not to say that people that are more promiscuous are not worthy for marriage, but like, it's weird to just be so disappointed that your spouse has never cheated on someone. Like, that's so weird. In a confessional, she says that she wanted deeper conversations with him to connect more, but this here ain't it.
It's not. It really isn't. Like, if I were her, but she's obviously in a different place because she was attracted to him as her husband and wanting to be committed and see this through. But this whole conversation would have been just like, no, this is not the man that I want to be with. It would be totally different had he done all these things. Like, same situation, he's done all of these things. There is a situation where she still could be committed to him and still desire him with how he handled the conversation. But no, he chose to shame her, the fact that she hasn't done any of that stuff, and make it seem like she's boring or lame or just not like, what are you doing? Why are you beating her down? She's your wife.
I really gotta know. I really want to know what Jasmine is really thinking at this point, because she is trying to be Miss Congeniality. She is not saying, I think, what she is thinking, which is like, this man is gross. Like, why am I with him? Like, why are they pair me with him? Because this is not it. Like, I think Jasmine might. I know we had a couple divorce early, but Jasmine might get the award for most like done dirty in this season. Because this is a different level.
Lot with the Chris and Olajuwon out there.
Yeah, I mean, well, just for this season.
Oh, you said this season.
Yeah, just for this season. Like, not the most done dirty like ever, because we have some
heavy contenders.
But for this season, I think she might have been done the dirtiest at this moment. I know we have Mac and Dom out there, but this is terrible, because he is nowhere near ready for marriage. Like, it's so crazy.
It's not even give him a couple months, give him 6 months, he'll be ready. No, he's just not ready, period. Like, I don't think it could even be that marriage just really isn't in the cards for him.
Right.
So it's just like, why? What did y'all see? They saw potential. Pastor Cal saw what? Oh, he wants to, like, he says his life is turned around. Oh, Dom says she's an old soul. Why are we going off of what these people are saying?
You guys lied to us?
Right. What? That's why there's got to be more to this process than what people say, because they can sell you a bill of goods, and then you have this situation where Jasmine is going to end up, whether they end now or they end at decision day, or if they somehow make it through decision day and end after that, somewhere in there, Jasmine's going to end up heartbroken.
Yeah. So it's tough. And yeah, let's do the ratings. Where were we last week?
So last week I was a 1 and you were a 2. Boy. And this is a scale 1 to 5, 5 being that we think they're going to end up together, 1 being we think they're breaking up.
Yeah, I don't see. Part of what makes me not want to go to a 1 is Jasmine's like stubbornness to see it through, and I could see Eris being like, well, I'm not attracted to her, but she's gonna take good care of my kids, and maybe saying yes on decision day. But this is through reunion, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take it down to a 1 because he has been so just ugh.
This is awful. I'm
Was that
also
term? What was that term you kids say? Got the ick?
Oh, I had the ick with Aries on the wedding day. So
Yeah, but this gets
at this
worse and
point, yeah,
worse.
it's just like if I was tallying the icks, we'd definitely be like in probably the 300s.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna go down to a 1. I assume that you're gonna maintain your 1.
I am maintaining my 1. Nothing about Aries has allowed me to see that he is willing to really commit to this. She literally early in the episode said, I want us to have a more emotional connection and get to know each other on a deeper level. And then later we get the never have I ever. And it's just like, he's not listening to her, which is just showing he's totally interested in quote unquote what he needs and what he's looking for, rather than treating this like, okay, let me see what my wife needs and what I need and how we can join that and have a successful marriage. Eris is not interested in having a successful marriage. Therefore, this is not going to work. I need her friends to speak some sense into her, like for her to explain this to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't have on the rose-colored glasses. I already feel like her aunt and sister feel away about him from last week.
Yeah, I think so.
So
I'm trying to think of like the emotional conversations that they've had. I can't really think of any other than the same conversation they keep coming back to is the love conversation. He's never been in love. She has. They keep having that same conversation, but I don't feel like they never get deeper. Like the only thing he wants to talk about is sex. And it's like, dude, like that's not on the forefront of her mind exactly. Like she's willing to go there with him. And he's the one pushed like holding back on that, but it's a mess. It's terrible. I don't like him at all. Like this episode really put me over the top as being like, yeah, this guy is absolute trash. Absolute trash.
It's like it was at first it was like comical to talk about, but now I'm just disgusted.
Yeah.
Because it's just like at this point I'm starting to think about the impact of Jasmine coming out of this marriage and just like what she's going through in this, trying to make it work. Like she genuinely wants it to work. But I was gonna say it's like you don't want my metaphors.
No, dude, I want your metaphors. We want your metaphors, Aysha. Do not get it twisted. That we don't want your metaphors. We all want the metaphors. We just are acknowledging that they're, out there. We want them.
She's just not given anything. It's like, go build this house, but we're not going to give you anything. We're not going to give you wood. We're not going to give you tools. She's like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this?
Figure it out.
Just figure it out. Figure out how to make it work with Aries. Maybe, and I was going to say maybe the meeting with Dr. Pepper at some point will help. Because I feel like Dr. Pepper would be appropriately like disappointed in him.
Yeah, but here's the thing with Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper and Pastor Cal have not been holding these people to task the way they need to be held to task lately.
Yeah.
I really want to go back to the old days where they were like, really wagging their finger at people. But I feel like they've really gotten away from that. I feel like you're like, well, here's what you should do. Like, not like, Eris, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, slap some sense to this guy, like Pastor Cal should be doing. So I don't have much hope for that. I don't have much hope for this being any kind of successful. If anything happens positively, it will be because of Jasmine.
Yeah. She's just like, she was already dealing with Felina judging her. Now she's having to deal with Eris judging her. Like no one wants to, now she's, especially after this, never have I ever, she's going to be feeling like, okay, anytime he's asking me a question, I don't give him the right answer. I don't know what he's going to say in response. Right. So it's just like, who wants to be in that situation in a marriage where your spouse is constantly judging you? It's just gross. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. We had let's talk about Clint and Gina. The couple that is they're running out of runway to land this thing.
They crashed a long time ago. It's a crash on the runway.
Right.
They couldn't even get to cruising altitude. They just They took they like skirt, skirt, skirt. They just took off and just like kept bouncing on the runway and then just
Yeah, they couldn't get off the ground. So Clint FaceTimes his mom, and he tells her, like, we've had a couple of snafus and we're getting along really well. I feel like we really have the social aspect down, but she's been focusing a lot on her workplace. And his mom's like, yeah, those things come in time or come with time. And he was like, did they come in with time with you? Is his mom divorced? Because
I'm not really sure. But he was looking for backup and he didn't get it.
He was. He's like, whose side are you on? And so he asked her, he's like, as a business owner, like, did you have a hard time finding time for yourself and for others? And
he's like, no, right? Like you had plenty of time for other people, right, Mom?
She was like, well, like, no, I don't have a hard time. Like, I could take as much time off as I needed, but the first 4 years, I was completely focused on my business.
He's like, damn it.
Right.
It's like, why did you say, like he was disappointed in his mom. He's like, why did you? Like, you know that look that you give to like family members and they're like, they know what it is, just like, why did you do that? You know it's not what I was looking for.
He's like, you know what we texted about.
Right.
Why aren't you sticking to the script? You're making me look bad. You're making me look impatient. And so we get a confessional from Clint. It's like, there's work-life balance and the runway is shortening and pretty quickly to land this thing. So he didn't really get what he wanted out of that conversation with his mom, but his mom did help him see, like, in this phase in her life, her being busy is not abnormal.
Listen, for Miss Susan, who has a 40-year-old son, looking pretty good.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, all right, Miss Susan. Get it.
Like she's thriving.
For real. Yeah. I'll talk about when I like do the wrap up for them. But yeah, I just another Gina, another person that should not have done this.
Yes.
Not the time for this.
Not at all. She's like, I'm the busiest I've ever been in my life. You know what I should do?
Just get married like on a whim to a stranger. Like, yeah, that's totally what the time is called for right now.
Right here, right now. Because once this salon, once my brick and mortar takes off, I have no time to meet people naturally. So this is the only way. And so we do get the scene of Clint going to visit her salon. And so we get a confessional where Gina's like, I can't wait to see how the team feels about him, because like they spend every day with me. And so she can't wait to see what they think. She also thinks her and Clint they both accepted like that they do need more emotional intimacy. Clint comes in with his dad jokes. First thing he jokes about is the wash bowl.
Hey, what is this for? Is this for your butt? What is this for? Is this thing for your butt? Is this a bidet? I mean, I determined that Clint's accent, I don't think he's supposed to be from Chicago. But I determined his accent is like Chicagoan, like a little bit. He's got that like that, don't you know? He's got the don't you know, like kind of accent. What is it, like maybe Minnesota, like the Midwest? Don't you know?
Yeah.
Hey, don't you know? He's got a don't you know kind of like inflection to his voice.
He does. Yeah, maybe his parents are from there. Well, is he a transplant to Nashville?
Well, he's supposed to be from New York, I thought.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't sound like a New York. He doesn't sound like Nicole.
Right. Very true. So her Gina's coworker asked him, "Are you messy?" He's like, "No." She's like, "Huh? I expected you to be messy." He's like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, jokesters are usually messy."
This is the material, people. This is what made it into the show. This is not a scene that was. This is not an interaction that was scene. Cut. This is what made it into the show. Into the show they already cut by half an hour. This is what made it.
This is the content.
It's like, I thought you were messy because you're such a jokester. Okay.
Which, no, that's not the reason. And so we get a confessional where he says he is attracted to her ambition, but on the other hand, you got to enjoy your life. So I mean, but you do have like it just depends what you're doing with your life,
Right.
what you're pursuing, because sometimes you do have to work in order to get to the point to enjoy your life. And she's in a field right now where she has to put in a lot of the legwork now so that the salon can thrive without her.
There's
You
not a
know,
lot
she's
of I'll just do that tomorrow when you're like
yeah.
starting a business. I'll just, you know what? I'll just put my work on pause and I'll go out and enjoy the night with you. That's not really a option she has right now. Like I don't know a lot about the salon and hair business,
Mm-hmm.
but when there's a hair emergency, you know?
And the money you make is based on your clients. So you
Right.
have to have appointments. You have to be there to do it. You can't phone it in from home. Like, yeah, girl, I will give you that nice color from home
I'm
virtually.
just gonna walk you through dyeing your own
Right.
hair.
Exactly. Get in there, get in the wash bowl, really clean it. You got it.
Here, put me on FaceTime, put me on the sink.
Right. I just feel like that's the one thing I will give Gina is like that does make sense, but I will also give her that she should have known she didn't have nobody's time to be
Hell,
devoting to a marriage.
what are you doing? And you know, we do have the people out there on the internets that are saying, you know, Gina only did this to promote her hair salon. I don't know. I think there could be a little truth to that.
I feel like there are way other things there are other avenues
Than
with
to
the
get
way
legally
that
married.
right. Like I feel like to get legally married is probably last on the list of like the list for how we're going to market this new salon.
Mhm.
Like number 3, Gina, you do have to get legally married. I think that's the only way. Lifetime Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's where the people in
Yeah,
Nashville are going to see.
that's where the people are on TV Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. They are on Lifetime. MAFS is a ratings juggernaut.
Hmm.
It's not, folks. Um,
Like there's not Twitter, there's not Instagram, there's not TikTok. Like literally you commit to a platform, you go so hard and the people will come.
yeah. So you know, I don't know how accurate that is, but this just and I understand that MAFS does not come to your hometown every day, every year. It will happen once in a lifetime, maybe twice in a lifetime that MAFS will come to your town. We can all be Mark the Shark and get a second pass at trying to get on Married at First Sight. So I understand she may have been like, it's the one time they're coming here, let me give it a shot. But I mean, you got to know that the odds of you being successful when you have this much going on in your life, not great.
Not great at all. So we did get a little moment of Hank rubbing his head on their bed, which I was like, I know that
It's
behavior.
going bananas.
Right. Pepper and Cinnamon do that after they eat. They just like they'll go and they'll rub their whole body on the couch and just like I guess they're just so happy just have to get it out, but they always do it after they finish eating. So I was like, Hank probably had a good meal. So they get their card to explore these questions. They do have to hold hands during the conversation, which they do. So the first question was, what brings you joy? And she said, quality time with people she loves, traveling, decompressing. And he said, the 3 F's
Oh boy.
friends,
You know, everyone's
family,
bracing themselves like, okay, here we go.
friends, family, and selling. Just kidding. Friends, family, and he's
Sailing.
like, okay, that was dumb. He's like, can you guess the third? And she's like, okay, food. He's like, yes, food.
Family, friends. Okay, can you guess the other one? Okay, it's food. It's food.
Oh gosh.
Oh, Clinton, your dad jokey ways.
Right. Then the other question they showed was share things that were difficult for you in your life. She says, in her childhood. Like her childhood was a difficult time because her parents got divorced at a young age. She had to go through a lot of therapy to work through that, and she had to just have like she had to shift her mindset. And she had to ultimately learn like she's not a product of her environment. For him, what was difficult in his life, he said he got a girl pregnant.
Hold on, Aysha. I'm gonna do what Gina did during this touching story that Clint shared. Hold on.
Okay.
All right, hold on. All right.
So he said he got a girl pregnant. She did end up having a miscarriage. It was unfortunate because he was really excited. He told her like even before the miscarriage, guys, if you listen to the audio, I'm not laughing at the story. I'm laughing at Jason. He told her that he would have always been present and there for her. He's like, even after he found out about the miscarriage, he got like full body rashes from all the nerves, and he's never reacted he's never reacted physically from like an emotional response. So yeah.
She was so disinterested. Like, I was like, this she has the worst body language of anyone ever. She's just like head on her like fist, just like, oh my god, when is this story gonna be over? I did not take this long to tell mine. He is so boring. I was like, gosh, she is just not into this whatsoever.
It was giving thanks for sharing.
Didn't ask for all that, but okay.
So because she did mention on After Party, right? Did she say?
So they showed that clip, but then Rudy goes to her. She's like, Gina. She's like, yeah, I know, right? So sad, so sad. And Rudy like kept asking her about stuff. She's like, yeah, like she still was just like, no, don't care. Like she.
Yeah, it was like the only thing I remember was just her saying like, like her seeing him as a dad was new.
Yeah, and she made it about her. She was like, yeah, seeing him as a dad, my dad wasn't around, so it gave me that perspective from like a dad. I was like, that's not really like, it's not really about Clint. It's more about you and how you feel about like your dad.
Yeah.
Wasn't great. Rudy was like, so did he have a piece of your heart that moment? She's like, well, it lays a good foundation. Like, like no, he's not
like, I'm not going to give you a yes.
Yeah.
The last question is, what scares you about intimacy? And her answer is wondering if it'll grow with them. And he says, same.
Samesies.
Yeah. And so they end that section with like he had a confessional where he's like they've had their challenges, but he wants to be married more than anything.
And that right there hit my ear, and I was like, you just want to be married.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's not even about being married to Gina. It's just
married.
So I guess I'll take this and work with it.
I feel like Jasmine's also in that camp, as well as I can't go too hard on Chris and Nicole, but I do think they that is a strong emotion in them wanting to be married. Had they not been matched with somebody who they worked with,
them.
Yeah. So we do get her visiting. He visited the salon, so she visited his boat. Dang.
Wonder where dang it was.
Yeah. And so he's teaching her all about the boat. He would get a confessional. He says like he thinks she'll adore it and they can hopefully connect mentally. He tells her how he's an 8th generation sailor, and they show us pictures of him growing up sailing. And did you see that last picture?
I sure noticed a random black man on one of those boats.
Oh, really?
I was like, who's that random black guy?
Oh, I didn't. I just
servant, butler. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
What was the last picture that you're talking about?
The last picture was young Clint. I'm thinking probably 20s, early 30s. I was like,
Oh
Clint had a
yeah, they just like
body.
standing on the boat, maybe. Yeah, like
Yeah, he was like
yeah,
standing at the front. Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
young Clint had a body. It was like he was in
Old
the
Clint's been
gym or
snacking.
right? Young Clint was a snack. So she actually enjoys it. She says she loves sailing. She rates her experience a 9. Had there been
If
more
Clint wasn't
wind,
there, it would have been a 10.
right? Exactly. She gives it a 9 because there wasn't that much wind to work with. Then the last thing we got from them, which is just was not eventful at all. It could have been left on the cutting room floor. PBR's in town.
How do we go from James Allen, a ring company, being a sponsor, to a random like professional bull riding like event as a sponsor? I was like, what even
Were they
is
a
this?
sponsor? Did they advertise it?
I think it was supposed to be like a sponsored post. Like I think they really kind of shit like PBR's in town. It's not, Pabst Blue Ribbon, as some might think. And I think, I mean, because there was no other point to this at all,
Mm-hmm.
but to show us that Clint and Gina have zero chemistry
Yeah.
whatsoever, because they were just there like, and there was no real interaction between them at this like bull riding thing.
Right. They like joke about how they're like rubbing off on each other. He's like, yeah, it's like we're rashes.
She's
What?
like, uh-huh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah,
rashes.
yeah,
Yeah,
true.
great.
They watch the bull riding. Clint is convinced he can do that. And so they continue that, and she's like saying no, he can't do that, and she's saying yes, or he's saying yes, he can do that. I'm like,
It's like dueling confessionals, or they saying that he
yeah,
can and she's saying he can't.
yeah. So there was that.
That was so
It
awkward
just
and
felt
weird.
odd. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did get one of those previews where they've been doing the season where they try to spoil something that's far beyond what we're actually watching because they're like,
Mhm.
please keep watching. This one, the main thing that stood out to me was Max says, so I did slide in Gina's DMs.
Yeah. I do think this is probably because we're getting an expanded Where Are They Now this season, which I think is going to be similar to what 90 Day Fiance has been doing recently with like the 3-part, for that it's a tell all. For this, I think it's a 3-part like Where Are They Now special.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going to get 3 episodes of that. Which, do we need more? We need
Mm.
what they saw this season like, what would be really great? 3 Where Are They Now specials. No, stop it. Stop it. So I do think that material is coming from that. Because I mean, obviously that will be after Decision Day. That'll be after Clint and Gina have broken up, after obviously after Dom and Mac have broken up, because they're already broken up now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think my guess is that is where that's gonna come from.
Which is just so odd. Like they never have previewed something that is in the post Decision Day.
Yeah, and I think that like maybe that was even shot recently, and they were just like, "Oh, put this out there, get this out there." This was shot like a few weeks ago, and they're like, "Get this edited, and we need to get it out there now, so people will watch and maybe think this is going to come up soon." I think all that. I think the Clint and Dom kiss is in there too. I think big plot line of that Where Are They Now special is going to be, the mix up of these couples of Dom and Clint and Gina and Mac. I think that will be a plot line there for that special specifically.
Yeah.
But we have got like commentary about that Clint and Dom scene that they see Jasmine Eris in the background, kind of like cuddled up, which if it's the Where Are They Now special might mean that they are still together, which wouldn't be
That's
great.
that's the only reason I don't think it's that far.
Yeah. Who knows?
Unless they were like, unless they decide, like, unless Jasmine and Eris decides we shouldn't be married, but let's not close this off. Let's
They
see
could
what
be
can happen.
they could be a we need more time couple. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying yes to marriage. I'm saying yes to more time. Like,
Yeah.
that could definitely be that case.
Yeah. So let's rate Gina and Clint. last week we both were 2s. What are you this week?
You know, I wouldn't say anything happened that made me really negative on them. It was just like, wow, you guys really just have zero chemistry. You have really just zero like desire. Well, I mean, especially from Gina's side, she has like zero desire to make this work.
Yeah.
But I will stay at a 2 just in case something happens, even though everything in my body is telling me to give them a 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, on After Party, and by the way, I don't know how many Smurfs Gina had to kill to make that outfit she's wearing at the party, but that was something else.
It's so funny because I saw you said that. Then I watched After Party, and then I completely forgot to look at what she was wearing.
It was woof. And the whole panel was just giving Power Rangers like the whole time. Like each person had on a bright, like neon colored whatever suit, whatever dress they were wearing.
Yeah.
And on After Party, she said that she and Clint have not even kissed since the honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at all 3 of those ladies sitting there on After Party. Jasmine, nothing with Eris, as she confirms After Party. Kirsten, nothing with Shaq. Gina, nothing with Clint. Like, how like bad is this season? Where it's just like, dang, we're getting one couple out of 5 who are even a little intimate. Like, that's it.
Yeah, and it sucks because it's just like, I know y'all are trying to crank these out twice a year, but maybe this one should have stayed on the cutting room floor. Like, it happened, but
the lost season
y'all,
it's
not gonna see the light of day.
Y'all don't want to see it. Just know that we have a successful couple, Chris and Nicole, but you will never know how they got together.
Right.
Maybe Chris and Nicole should have just got a special season. Like, we have just one couple this season, Chris and Nicole.
Yeah, they could have done like a 5-episode special, Married at First Sight, the couple.
just edit around the rest of the couples. Like,
right? No group sessions.
Who was that in the background that it seemed like Nicole was talking to, but y'all just kept cutting away from them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Right. And then if somebody comes over, like let's say Eris would come over, it just say like Chris's friend.
Chris's friend, yeah. Oh God.
But I had been at a 1 and I moved up to a 2 last week, but I'm gonna go back down to a 1. It's just not it.
It's a dud. Like it's
absolutely.
It's a dud. I think this thing just never even like it never started. Like you said, it just never got off the ground. It never got to cruising altitude. That and I don't even think it's that comment he made. I just think she wouldn't have liked him anyway.
Yeah.
She already didn't like his gingery features, as she said.
Yeah.
So I don't even think the athletic comment really would have made any difference if he hadn't said it. She just
there would have bbeen something else. Like she would have been like, "You're not asking me about me, or you're not focusing on my salon."
Yeah.
Right. She's just not into him.
Not into him at all.
So yeah, let's move on to the next couple. Where are we heading next?
Chris and Nicole. Our good couple? Question mark?
If they don't get in their own way.
Yes, the self-sabotaging couple of Nicole and Chris.
Yes.
They go to a couples massage. We had a couple of dates from Chris and Nicole this episode. It's like, damn, they're shining. They're going on dates. They're living their best lives.
Mm-hmm.
They go to a couples massage. He says, of course, because we have to hear about his terrible past dating life. He says, last time I did a couples massage was 8 years ago with a toxic ex. It was awkward, but hopefully things will go better here. Chris, have you had an ex that was not toxic? Because I feel like we've heard about like 8 exes that were toxic, or is this all the same person? I just don't know.
If it is, stop bringing her up.
Yeah, it's not a good look, my man. So they're getting the couples massage, and I don't know how you would feel about this, but like, as the masseuses are masseusing, they're making small talk with Chris and Nicole, asking about the wedding, asking if it's being very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel when you're in like a service type of spot like you're getting massage or you're getting your hair done, do you talk to your servicer?
That's funny you say that because I just did like I'm doing like a 3-month trial situation with a massage place. And
You wait. So you get like just regular massages?
no, it's like 1 a month.
That's regular.
No, I said 3 months. I just started in January. It's just going until this month.
That's Aysha Wealth, y'all.
My God.
Get massages on the regular.
For 3 months.
Go and get fun monthly massage.
But I was talking to someone about that. It was just like, because I had 2 different masseuses. The first one, right off the bat, hey, what do you do for a living? That's not the vibe. I'm here for relaxing time. Why are we talking? Why are we getting to know each other? I want to doze off, really. Just go to another place mentally. So I don't enjoy talking during massage, but the second time I went, it was perfect. The guy didn't talk until he sat me up to do like my shoulders. Then he was then my face isn't like in the bed, and so like in the massage bed, and so then we started talking. So I was like, oh, this is appropriate. So that felt like the right time, not laid down facing like the cradle thing. But yes. I will say, like, getting my hair done, like, there needs to be flowing conversation.
Oh yeah, not me. I am not a good small talker whatsoever. So if I'm going into like a service place, like when I used to go to a barber, I purposefully shopped around and picked someone that would not talk to me as they were cutting my hair, because I am not for that at all. Trying to make the small talk, because I am terrible at it. I've met people recently through the RHAP, the events. They will tell you I am not a small talker. Aysha will tell you I'm not a small. Aysha was better because we already had like a rapport,
right?
But I am not, like, with people I don't know, people I don't talk to a lot. I am not a good small talker whatsoever. So
you don't hop in an Uber and then.
Oh no! If I took Ubers, whenever I've taken an Uber, whenever I've taken a cab or a ride share, I do not talk to me. I've had people talk. I'm like, okay, yep. I humor them. I would just really prefer it if you did not talk to me at all. And we did a ride or whatever it is, complete silence. I would love that. Love it. But yeah, gotcha. I was curious about the people's feelings on that, because these masseuses were extremely like talkative. I'm sure they were told by production to be talkative. I'm sure that's what they were there for. But yeah, they
were talking to, like, Chris and Nicole were talking to each other.
Yeah,
so the whole thing, it was a talking vibe.
Yeah, it was a real talking vibe, because they're like, yeah, marriage is stressful. We make sure we communicate at all times. Nicole in a confession says, in any marriage, there's going to be stress and frustration. But right now, their lives really fit well together, and she loves living with him. She loves waking up next to him. So right now, it's all really good. She says that she wants to make sure that she isn't missing something that she should be doing. So she wants him to speak up whenever he feels like, something's not happening that should be happening. He says, no, everything's great. He's like, just make sure you're not holding back. Like, no, you don't hold back. No, you don't hold back. No, I don't want you to hold back. None of us should be holding back. He says, he tells the masseuses, touch is really our love language, and it really means a lot to us. She says, well, touch really was my love language until you. Before you, it was really on the bottom of my priority list to be touched and PDA and all that. But now that I met you, it's now my number one priority. I didn't used to like PDA, but every time he's near me, I want him to be closer. Oh, so sweet. They're like so like syrupy, saccharine, sweet in these moments.
Yes.
It's a little annoying, I gotta say. In a confessional, she says her feelings for him are growing stronger every day, and she has no doubt that she will love him. And every day she feels more secure in her feelings for him. And that's the massage. That's the masseuses.
Yeah. And like, I think that is telling that love language thing, because that means that she just feels really comfortable with him off the bat. So I just want them to just continue to not even continue. Just start not getting in your own way.
Yeah, let's just be cool. Let's be calm. Like,
let's
calm down, y'all. Chill. So the next scene we get with them, and they go to a what would you call this, Aysha? It's like a restaurant, a
I would call
pub,
it a bar,
a bar.
like
Okay.
because it wasn't type because it was like a cocktail type of place.
Yeah,
Um,
I said this is an Aysha Wealth place if I ever saw one. Like this is like some kitschy, like hipstery, like super expensive, like experience bar, like where you have a little tap on gallon tap or whatever it was on your table. You gotta do something special with your drink. I was like, this is such an Aysha Wealth place. First thing I thought of.
yeah, I've definitely been to places like that. Not trying absinthe though.
Yeah, isn't that like a really like intense like alcohol?
Yes, that's like let me look up the percentage. Uh, so it's like literally the first question is what is absinthe and why is it illegal?
Damn.
Yeah. So it's just it says 45 to 74% alcohol by the volume. It's 90 proof, but I've never tried it and never have wanted to.
Yeah, the only thing I've ever heard about is it gets you real messed up real fast.
Yeah, it says it's a hallucinogenic.
Ooh.
Hallucinogenic.
So hopefully they
How
took
you
it in
say-
small doses here and should not leave the
Well,
experience.
her first taste, she was not a
She
fan.
was like, nope. So yeah, they're in her neighborhood where she usually lives, and she says she wants to have new experiences with him, so they're going to this place. They get a demonstration from the bartender. She has to like a sugar cube on a spoon over the drink and drip some. I don't know if it was water or maybe that was
I
the
think that was
absinthe.
the absinthe.
Yeah, so she has to drip it onto the sugar cube and then take it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much work.
And after that whole process, because it's dripping.
Uh-huh.
So after that probably took to get the amount she had, maybe 20 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And then for her first sip, for her to be like,
She's like,
that
nope,
was
she just stole Chris's drink, who was drinking something else. They cheers to their relationship and exploring the world together. She doesn't like it. She takes a drink, like I said. He says they're growing every day, and he's proud to call her his wife. She says their goal, like Pastor Cal says, is to grow in love. They haven't had the full-on love conversation, but she really wants to get to a place where they can talk about it. She wants to know how he feels. Didn't they? Yeah, didn't they?
Y'all have talked about love constantly.
She has for sure. Because she's asking about, so you love me yet? You love me yet? To her, that's not a full conversation, I guess. She really wants to have that conversation now and wants to know how he feels because she doesn't want to withhold how she feels, thinking that he already knows how she's feeling, but he doesn't really know. I was like, okay, I'm getting lost now. Like, I'm starting to get lost in your like maze of words. Yeah. In a confessional, she said that she thinks whoever feels a love feeling first should say it. She really wants that to be Chris.
Right. She doesn't want to be in a position to say it and then he doesn't say it back. And then it's this whole thing where she's waiting on him because she knows she's already there. But I also think this is like season 10 with Jessica and Austin?
Yeah,
where she really wanted him to say I love you and he just wasn't there yet. He kept saying he needed time. I just don't think it like they said at the beginning of the episode, we have 5.5 weeks left until decision day. So it has been 2.5 weeks. And she's already thinking that, like, okay, because I feel like I'm ready. He's probably there too. It's like, just don't rush it.
And she's been badgering him like since the honeymoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you in love yet? Oh, I'm just joking. Just kidding. But if he had said, yeah, actually, I do feel like I'm in love. She's like, yes, like, me too. Thank God, I love you so much. Like
I've been waiting for you to say it.
She really wants to say it. So she's just like, will you just say it so I can say it?
Yeah.
And he tells her, he's like, well, I don't really want to feel pressured into saying it. I feel like you really have to be ready if you really want to say it. It has to feel real. It has to be real for me. She tells him they will, and she says, there are going to be days where we don't like each other, but at the end of the day, we still say we love each other. I was watching this with my wife, and she said, there are days you don't like me. I said, no, that is real weird. Like, there are going to be days I say I don't like you. There are going to be days where you do things to frustrate me, that I'm not going to like. I'm not going to say I don't like you as a person.
Right.
Like,
There may
that's
be
really
days you
interesting.
hate me.
No, there won't. Like, there are days I hate you. Like, that's weird. But she says, those days we'll still look at each other and say we love each other. That's when we'll know that we'll be comfortable enough to say that we love each other. In a confessional, he says, I feel like Nicole really wants me to say it first.
At
It was
least he knows.
it was so interesting to have those dueling confessionals. She's like, I really want him to say it first. He's like, I feel like she really wants me to say it first.
Right.
He says, but I've been in a past relationship where I said it before, and I shouldn't have said it. We weren't ready, and you can't take it back when you say it, so you have to really feel it for sure. Like, dang, Kirsten, you cannot stop talking about your bad past relationships.
He can't, and he mentions it at every moment, which I understand. Like, you learn from those past relationships, but the fact that we've heard it so much, it feels excessive.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wonder, has Chris truly healed from those relationships? Like, yeah, they're over, and he may not, have feelings for those women anymore, but has he healed from what he went through in those relationships? And it doesn't feel like it.
I mean, it's either that he hasn't healed from it, or he's healed from it so much that he doesn't mind talking about it. He talks about it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Either he's learned from it or he hasn't healed from it, is the thing.
Yeah.
And Chris, like me, does not want to talk to a barber, so he gives himself a haircut in his own bathroom.
Yeah.
In a confessional, he says, it's important to look good. He really wants to portray himself as cool, confident, and sexy for his wife. He can see this turning into love, and the more they share, the deeper they can fall in love. He tells her, like, yeah, I really want to look good for you. He says, I do have some body insecurity issues myself, but, I'm really working on it. She says, yeah, I feel the same way. I want to look good for you too. And we're both taking steps to do that. We're eating healthy. We're going to the gym. But she says, I'm really attracted to you. So don't do things because you feel like you want me to feel a certain way, or you want to do things for me because I like you the way you are. And then he drops the bomb. He says, well, funny you mentioned that about looks and everything. I just wanted to let you know, I did say something about your appearance. Shortly after we got married, they were asking me how I felt about your looks. I said, your face is great smile, but you were a little thicker than I would normally go for, but not in a bad way. And we do see the flashback where he does say exactly that.
Yeah, he says, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, he says exactly that.
Yeah.
He continues to put a foot further deeper to his mouth. He says, for me, thick is like athletic, which he should have known to stay away from the A word.
Right.
He's like, for me, thick is like athletic and sexy. And I was being honest in the moment. And I know that you refer to yourself in that way. She stops to say, that's different.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. And it's a little jarring to hear that coming from my husband. She says, girls can say that about themselves, but it's different coming from you. In a confessional, she does say she was taken aback by hearing that from her husband. And, she says, I've had a lot of body dysmorphia in the past. I come from New York, where there's a lot of fitness influencers, so I can't help but compare myself to those around me, and it's something that she's been working on. She does a little joke. She says, well, now I have to hide my rolls now after that on camera. And says, she will always be thicker. She was just born that way. And if they have kids, she'll be even thicker. He says, well, that's just your body type. That's just your body type. In a confessional, she, it gets awkward, and she admits that in the confession. She's like, things have gotten kind of uncomfortable now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's certainly got a lot of balls to pull this right now. She says again, she says, it's okay to call me thick, for me to call myself thick. But in the future, when you asked about your wife, it's okay to call me strong, sexy, and badass, but try and stay away from the body type conversation, because that could really be hurtful to me.
Right.
Boy, this was woof. So we talk about the self-sabotaging with Chris and Nicole. I feel like this was that for Chris, 100%.
Absolutely.
Like, why on earth would you bring this up right now? Number one, on camera. Like, what is it about these people? Do they have like some pact with the producers? Like, I
Right.
promise you, if I do anything uncomfortable or awkward or weird, I will do it on camera. Like, was there no time off camera that he could have had this conversation with her? Like,
It's almost like the body. So I feel like ever since he said it, he's been thinking about it. Or he thought about it when the whole Clint thing happened on the
yeah,
honeymoon, and then he's just been sitting on it like, ugh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said that. And then the fact that he was talking about his own body and looking good and all in that situation, he's like, okay, this might be the perfect opportunity to pull it out. But it's just like,
this conversation should have taken place like the day before the season premiere. Like, if y'all are still together,
or not even like as we're watching it, like
well,
what
I agree that he probably should have gotten ahead of it, but do it right before the show airs. Like,
Mhm.
not like, this soon into your marriage.
Literally 2.5 weeks. Y'all don't even have like a solid foundation yet.
Right.
Like
Like,
she's still y'all are still forming opinions about each other. And
yeah,
now
this was
she's
not a
gonna
good
think
time.
you just think she's too thick. Too thick.
But he would like, and he didn't say it in a bad way. He said it in a
Right.
good
He said
way.
not
Like,
in a bad way.
yeah, he wasn't even saying it to be disparaging at all. So it's like, did you even need to have the conversation at all? You probably, just to be safe, should have, but you should not have had it now. Like, this is a conversation way down the line. Like, when you are way more comfortable with each other, when you're way more like in it.
And
I
it's
know
all
they think they're
about
in it. They think they're in it big right now, but this was not it.
yeah. And it's all about delivery too. Like if he had said she's thicker than I no, he shouldn't have he could have acknowledged that she's thick, but he didn't have to say she's thicker than what I usually go for, but not in a bad way. Because that implies that you think that people say it in a bad way. And so you're thinking, oh, this is in a bad way. What he should have said was, she has a beautiful smile, she has a beautiful face, she's thick, and I love it. you know,
Yeah,
that's
like, I
it.
mean, the first mistake was saying it at all. Like,
Yes, exactly.
that was
You had to mention it.
that was a first mistake. But then you just kept like doubling down on your mistakes.
Hmm.
And this is a bad time, just taking the meta look at it, like on camera. Like,
Yeah.
I could understand if this was like when the cameras were around and you had this conversation, fine. But this was terrible because as awkward a conversation as that is, it's even more awkward that she has to face this on camera in front of
Yeah.
America now and explain
Mhm.
this to him. And on After Party, the girls were like backing Chris up. Like, Jazz was like, this is not like this is not Chris. Like, we know Chris, and he
Yeah.
did not mean this in a disparaging way. She wanted to say, like Clint, like this is not
Right?
the Clint
Yeah.
situation. This is a different thing.
Yeah.
So Chris has good intentions, but this was just,
Yeah, just sometimes he puts his foot in his mouth.
yeah, and it's more that self-sabotage they both have been doing.
Yeah.
So that was Chris and Nicole for this week.
Yeah.
Let's do the ratings. They want me every week to bring them down from a 5. They do things
They
and
try.
you're like,
They're like,
Jason,
we
they
can do
bring us
one
down from a
thing.
5. Like, take us down.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to say, and let me just say as well, like, I didn't really get into like the Nicole side of it. She continues to handle everything with such like grace and such like
And maturity.
understanding and maturity. Yes, she does things that are a little self-sabotaging, like constantly asking about love, but the way she's handling these things that come up, like the dog situation, like this situation, just a pro. She's great at it. So
Mhm.
because of that, I will maintain them at my 5. What about you, Aysha?
I'm maintaining my 5 too. I genuinely believe if anything goes awry, it's on them. But I feel like they both are in it enough and invested and committed and can see the good in each other enough to get through this self-sabotaging that they are doing. We did get that preview of him talking to Nicole's dad, and Nicole's dad said he needs some BDE. It's like, really?
You beta cuck. Like, Mason should have said
What?
that. Like, geez.
Yes. So that's going to be interesting. They must be visiting her dog because her dad is watching her dog at her apartment.
Mhm.
So I still don't doubt them. I'm still a strong 5.
Chris and Nicole, your only hope.
Really,
Save us.
because this is where I have some thoughts. Kirsten and Shaq.
Oof. Yeah, let's hear it.
Good Lord.
Listen, this was a they said, "Oh, y'all haven't got enough Kirsten and Shaq this season. Let's give you a whole bunch of Kirsten and Shaq." And
You said we were boring?
it really made me think of Shaq in a different light, as we'll talk about.
Yeah, for me, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to say that they did go on. They had their when did they do that? So they went on a plant date on this episode, right? And Jennifer W. Messaged me on Instagram and said that she went to high school with the owner's son of that nursery, that Bates nursery that they went to. It's like, what a small world. He's a listener of the podcast.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be like she went to high school with Kirsten. But she went to high school with the
son of the owner of the plant store.
Listen, Jennifer W. Like, that's great. But I just thought it was gonna be a little more like scandalous. Like,
now you looking for drama. This is an interesting fact.
Some tea about Shaq or Kirsten. Like, like, oh my gosh, Aysha, I have to tell you this crazy thing. I went to high school with the plant nursery owner's son.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, totally. I just good. That's great.
We have to know these things because it really connects us.
Well, I thought it was gonna be like, and they were there, and
I never promised you any drama. I didn't promise you.
They were there where Kirsten and Shaq was there, and they had a big argument that we didn't see on the show. Like, no, just went to school with them.
Mm-hmm. The owner's son. Get it right.
She's almost as connected as Aysha Welch is to people. I don't know.
No, still the weirdest thing to me was season 13. Zach and Michaela going to when they did that dodgeball thing and they were in that big bubble.
Mm-hmm.
That was walking distance from the area where I used to live. So it's just like small world.
Again, fascinating.
Why are you looking for tea? This isn't the tea section.
Well, I mean, but that was you all season. You were like, oh, that restaurant right there. I went there the other day. That was you that whole season.
Right. I was amazed. So with Kirsten and Shaq. But yes, thank you, Jennifer W, for sharing. I appreciated it.
Jennifer W, thank you. We appreciate you reaching out. I will never not appreciate people reaching out to us for anything. But yeah, I mean, okay.
Jason was just looking for tea. I don't know why.
I mean, guilty?
Okay, so Kirsten and Shaq, they start out with like he's trying to teach her how to Swiffer mop. She's doing it, but not in the way that he wants her to do it.
Oh boy.
That was just annoying. I know it was like on our screen for less than 5 seconds, but I'm just like, if she's Swiffering, let her Swiffer. It doesn't matter. And a perfect line. Good Lord. So
she's not used to Swiffering her apartment that had no furniture in it. Okay, because nothing gets dusty because there has no furniture.
Exactly. So she's FaceTiming her friend. And I think her friend's name is like Elise.
Yeah, like Elise or something like that. Yeah.
So Kirsten tells Elise like she had the entire honeymoon was amazing. And the second best thing is probably them walking into their apartment. I was like, why? Confused.
Listen, there's a lot of things while Kirsten made me go, huh?
Right.
What?
I was like, okay. I did. Cool. So she starts blushing, talking about Shaq. And her friend's like, whoa, you like really like him. And she's like, I'm just so happy and so blessed. I'm just really waiting for his work schedule to go back to normal because right now he is like working night or like late night events for his students, so we don't get a lot of time together. And Elise is like, look, he has to make like being a husband like a second job and prioritize this. And she's like, and I try to stay up late, but sometimes I go to sleep. So Elise like, dang, it's that late? And she's like, it's not that I'm needy, but
those late night activities at the school campus keep him from going home. I'm using the quotations of him not watching the YouTube. I don't know. Something funny about that.
Yeah, I have more to say about that. And so she says like she's not that needy, but they do have to spend time together. She's like, she tells him about this, and he always just asks her for grace. Shaq,
this is the start of like me looking sideways at Shaq. Like,
absolutely.
What's wrong with you, Shaq?
Just no plans. Just give me grace.
Shaq is the other person that was like, you decide to do this now?
Literally. Well,
this is a good time.
So, like he said, it's now or never. If it's not this, he don't know what he's gonna do. So they're in bed, and she asks him, has he ever been in love? And he says yes. And she's like, how'd you know? And he knew because like the woman had been very patient with him and took the time for him.
But I was like, are you trying to send a message here to Kirsten? Like, he's like, yeah, she was patient with me because I had so much going on. And she really gave me grace, So
absolutely, I 100% believe that Shaq is very petty, and he said that intentionally.
Yeah, so I just want whoever I'm going to love. I'm not saying anything about anyone, but they should really just be patient with me and let me do whatever I want.
Right.
That's how you'll get my love, Kirsten.
He said growing up in a single household, his mom tried to show him what true love was. And so he's just kind of giving his background on that. And Kirsten says she can relate on being in love, even her last relationship that, was multiple years. And things not working out made her have her guard up. And so we get a confession of her saying, like, hopefully they do fall in love. And so their next question, this is their time for their questions. And so the next question is, what will it take for her to fall in love? And she says, quality time, being around him, and knowing all about him. So then she asks him, what will it take for you to fall in love? He says, time. And she's like, yeah, like spending time together. He said, no, that was what you said.
He said, you said time together. I just said time in general.
Time, period.
Just in general. Like,
he said, I can be apart from you, and that's time. And we get a confessional. He's like, I want to give her undivided attention, but that's hard because I got to make myself happy by going to the gym and catching up with my friends and family. So I'm sorry. When are those two prioritized over your marriage?
This is a moment where I was like, Shaq just did this to just skip the dating part. Like, he much like Clint, he didn't care who he got. He just wanted to be married. He said, I just want to be married. I just don't want to deal with the dating stuff. I just want somebody to marry me, and then I can just keep doing whatever I want, and she'll just be my wife.
Yep.
I was like, what in the world? Like,
he's not like, y'all have something to build here, sir. Y'all don't know each other.
He said, I want to spend time with you.
He's like, I need time. I need time away from you. I need to go hang out with my friends who I see all the time. I need to go hang out with my family who I know so well. I need to go to the gym. Like, if I need to go to the gym morning and night, that's what morning, lunch, and night. That's what I need to do because that's what I need to make myself happy.
I really said, Shaq. Like, I was so shocked and upset with Shaq. I was like, why are you doing this? Like, why are you damaging your sterling reputation that you have with me, Shaq?
It's like, why is he not prioritizing his wife?
And he readily is admitting he's not prioritizing his wife and is happy about it. He's like, yeah, I got other stuff going on. Like right now, I don't know. Like I don't know what she thinks is we gonna do, but like, I don't know.
I
He
want to
said
spend time with her, but I just got these.
there's so much
All
to
these other
do.
things I have to. If I hang out, if I spend time with her, when I'm gonna go to the gym. If I
Right.
spend time with her, when am I gonna hang with my mentees?
Yeah, with my dudes, with my students. That was so weird. I was like, so you don't want to spend any time with her. You just want her to be married to you,
Just
like
there, do the household chores, be there when he gets home.
be my Stepford wife. Just be ready when I get home to cook my meals.
He said, I want my life to be the same. Okay. I just want a wife. But everything else I got going on, that needs to remain unchanged because that makes me happy.
Like
Sir, why did you get married?
Like you need to fit into my life. Like
literally.
Like what did you do this for? Like you just wanted someone to like cook your meals? Like I was shocked really by Shaq's behavior in his like mindset in this episode.
This was horrible. You are, like you just said, you are voluntarily admitting that you're not prioritizing your wife, and you're
he's
confused.
okay with it.
Yeah, you're confused why she wants to spend all this time with you.
Like, damn, you were just all up on me. Like, you just always want to spend time with me. Like, I got stuff to do. Gosh.
So, she says,
and we should have saw this coming, right? With the honeymoon stuff, like, and you will be going to Jackson, Mississippi with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way he said that at the time, I was like, that's weird. But I think we just kind of brushed it off.
Yeah, we kept it moving.
Yeah, but now it's like, I don't know.
He wanted a woman to just plop into his life.
Yeah, he wants someone that's going to follow him around. Someone to come home to.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to be away from home doing all the things that I've been doing. And when I come home, that's when I want a wife. I don't need to make the investment outside of that. Okay. So then she says, like, she says, I'm not always going to be this needy. So, but now, like, we're getting to know each other. Like, of course, I want to spend all my time with you.
Yeah. Logically, like using logic. It's like, yes, that's what happened.
Which makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And she literally tells this man, of course I want to spend all this time with you because we just got married. He rolls his eyes. Jason, the rage I had in this moment. We have been begging Kirsten to try. Just to see why they were matched. To be invested in this, right? Like, and not that she was checked out, but she had the attraction issue, the kissing issue. We're just like, girl, just commit and just try. This is her version of trying.
Well, this is more than we've got from Kirsten for all season. This is the most we've gotten from her. Like, oh, I really want to spend time with you now. Like, you are later. She's gonna tell him he's handsome. Like, I really want to be in this. I really want to spend time with you. When before we were just like, she doesn't really seem to really care, really want to be in this, but now she's in it and he's just like, I don't know, like you get a little clingy.
Yeah, literally that's what he's saying, and it's just like, wait a second, what?
Yeah, it just really it's a big switch up. Like, what is happening now?
Yeah, why have y'all swapped roles all of a sudden?
Yeah, so weird. There's so much on and off going on this season with like Eris like turning off his like sex meter, and now this episode all of a sudden turned it back on. And it's like, what are y'all doing around here? I don't know where they found y'all at. Like, but they need to take y'all back.
Don't ever. You hear me, Married at First Sight? Don't ever go back to Nashville.
Nashville is canceled. Y'all are canceled. Sorry for those of you that listen to us that are in Nashville, but
hey, listen, canceled. I also will say never come back to Houston. Houston singles are not ready.
Stay from DC.
Boston.
You're allowed to go to New Orleans.
Don't go to none of these cities again, okay?
You are only allowed to go to New Orleans.
Really?
Maybe New York.
Yes, you could revisit New York. You could do New Orleans, but
maybe
Atlanta.
Where Anthony and Ashley from?
Anthony and Ashley were, what were they?
I want to say Chicago.
Yes, they were Chicago.
I think MAFS is going back to Chicago. Actually, I did see like a casting call for MAFS for Chicago recently.
Oh, isn't the next one potential No.
Denver, I think it's Denver.
Oh, and then Love Is Blind in Seattle.
Yeah, so their next one is Denver, but they have a casting call for Chicago, which I don't even think they've been formally renewed for. So they may be
like just in case.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, y'all are only allowed to go to those certain cities because y'all are messing up some other cities. Like Nashville, y'all need to just not go there ever again.
Right. This fills me with rage because not only does he roll his eyes, he also says we just have to be intentional with our time. You're not being intentional at all with her. I'm so confused. What are you talking about?
I think he is kind of saying, because I think he's upset with her because she is so guarded.
Yes.
He's like, well, we're just kind of wasting our time when we're together because you won't open up, because you won't talk to me about you. I think that's part of what his issue is here when he says they have to be intentional with their time together, meaning like we have to make it count. So stop being so like guarded, keeping your walls. I think that is part of what his issue is here.
He needs to listen to I know I am a little hard on Pastor Cal from time to time, but the one good thing he did say was, okay, if she's not opening up to you, you need to at least make it a safe space for her to do so. When you are if he handles like the spa situation the way that he handles anytime she's trying to say anything, I wouldn't open up either. Because it's like he's clearly frustrated. He's not being patient.
We might have different takes on the spa situation, but okay.
Okay. I do agree, but I think they're just both in the wrong.
Yes.
So, I feel like he's not creating a safe space for her to open up, but she also has no excuse to be doing what she's doing.
Right.
But I do think that they would be further along if they were comfortable with each other, for one. And that one thing that keeps coming up in my mind is when she was like, she feels like when she's talking to him, he's talking at her, and it becomes about him, it's almost
a lecture a lot when they start getting into things, when he starts talking to her like that.
So she obviously already feels that way in their dynamic when they're communicating, and so it's not. And so for her, I could see her needing that quality time so she can get more and more comfortable with with talking to him and learning how to communicate with each other. But anywho, we have definitely more to say. So today is the day his mentees come over to visit. They come to his apartment. It's like, what, 5 of them?
There's 4 of them because there's a shot. There's a shot that a lot of people have talked about on Twitter where there's just 4 big guys just cramped on this couch.
Oh yeah, on
their
a love couch. Seat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was funny that when they came in, Kirsten's like, "Are y'all hungry?" And
Kirsten, she really came alive.
No. The way that we saw the personality of Kirsten like never before, I was like, oh, it's Shaq.
So Shaq's the problem. Yeah. So she I think she really kind of wants to take on part of this happy housewife role.
Yeah.
Like she wants to be the guy that you bring your boss over to dinner and she cooks dinner for you and the boss.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's part of what she wants. I just think she also wants to have a loving relationship with her husband where she can talk to him.
Is that too much to ask for?
Apparently, because if it seems like that's what Shaq is looking for. But if Shaq just this whole I don't need to spend time with you thing is really tripping me up. That's the part that's weird.
Right.
I think Kirsten wants to be that person that's like, oh yeah, hubby, come home, I'll make you dinner, I'll clean the house, I'll cook for you, and that way they match.
Yeah,
but it's just the Shaq time thing is weird.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's very odd. So I thought it was funny how she's like, are y'all hungry? I thought she had prepared something, but she just took the pizza out and put it on plates.
I saw those pizza boxes over there when they were talking in the kitchen before the mentees came over. I said, y'all got pizza. Y'all got Pizza Hut, huh? Y'all got pizza today.
Right. So I definitely thought she cooked. But pizza's fine. I love pizza. Pizza is
Oh
like
yeah,
top. It's like pizza, pasta, my favorite foods.
pizza is like pizza's in my top 5.
Oh,
I've been a real steak guy lately.
oh,
Steak's up there. Steak, pizza. I mean, listen, as we know, I'm a chicken finger man. So I'm
yeah.
very easy, very like
Well, okay, what do you get on your
I'm
pizza?
picky. Well, listen. I'm just I'm just a pepperoni guy. That is
Oh
it.
my God.
That's it. It's pepperoni. You're not putting anything else on pizza. It's just pepperoni.
Don't put anything else. Oh my gosh. So if y'all are in Houston, we have
Oh,
this
here we go.
great pizza place called
It's a promotional corner, y'all. The Houston promotional corner.
we have this great pizza place called Zalat. Well, it's not even just in Houston. It's all over Texas, but I don't know where else it is. The other day I ordered Zalat and I got it's called fashizzle. So it's a play on like pho, and it usually comes with chicken, but I got it with pepperoni instead because they use all beef pepperoni.
Mm-hmm.
But I love pepperoni anyway. But this was it. It was so delicious. If you're looking at the
This woman
YouTube,
took a picture of her pizza, y'all.
Jason, you know how many pictures I have in my phone. I have pictures of everything.
Yes, I know. Yes. Yeah. Did you put it on the Instagram or TikTok?
No, I didn't. I post very little.
Oh, okay.
I post the dogs. That's it. But yeah, like pizza or food and stuff. No, it's just for moments like these when I want to show a friend this amazing pizza I had. I think that's all I did. I texted to a friend.
I thought you were going to tell you had caviar on your pizza.
Oh my gosh. But that was amazing. I love Zalat. Makes me really want to get it this weekend. But anywho, so she gives them pizza. She asked them like, so tell me, like, how does he lead y'all? And they're like, first we really thought he was corny. But then we realized he's really hip. She's like, dang, that makes him sound old.
It's like hip.
Yeah, exactly. They were very nervous for him to go through this. One of them, their main concern was that he was going to get matched with someone that was ugly. And she's just working the room. Like, she has commanded the room. She is most confident I've ever seen her. I was like, oh, Kirsten is thriving in this situation.
Yeah, she's just lit up. She's like, hey, how are y'all doing? Like, tell me more. Tell me all about you. Like this is like, where did this Kirsten come from?
Right. And so one of them was worried because he's 31 and like he's been set in his way for 31 years. And Shaq's like, well, for me, like I'm no longer, he said he's no longer on this path.
He's no longer in this path by himself, I think he said.
Okay, he's no longer on like his path of life by himself. He's like even I was offered a job in another state, like a dream job in another state, and I said no. And then we get a confessional from him. He's like, well, I didn't consult Kirsten I didn't consult with her about this because I thought if I brought it up, it would be a problem. And he's like, but I am sacrificing stuff to be settled down here in Nashville. Then we get a confessional from her, and she's like, they had a conversation at the beginning of their marriage about like his goals and stuff for a dream or his dreams for his like dream job or whatever. And now he got a job, and she does appreciate him for turning it down, but she hopes he made that decision like for himself.
Yeah, I didn't like the way that Shaq was positioning this. Like,
no.
He's like, oh, I made this sacrifice for her. I hope she really appreciates it because I did this for her. Like, no, my man, you just got married. So this obviously is not the time. You got married to a stranger. Let me say that. So now is definitely not the time for you to take other jobs to go other places where you're not with your wife. Like, that's just a given. And so I would say to you, Shaq, why, if you are in constant search of new positions, which will lead you to other places, why did you get married right now, my man? Why did you do Married at First Sight right now? If this was a possibility for you. And the thing about Kirsten is, I think if they had that conversation, she might have been like, go ahead, go for it. I don't even think she would have minded, because I mean, let's remember, she took it rather well when he was like, we're not going to go to the honeymoon until a day late because I gotta go do my doctor thing. She's like, oh, she is down for a career-driven man. Like she
Yeah.
is all in on that. But I just don't like that he is positioning this like, had to sacrifice, Now I'm freaking married. Now I gotta do this for my
Literally.
wife. So it's like, but dude, like, first of all, you didn't talk to her about it, which you definitely should have.
Yep.
And that's to say, like, should you be making plans for this marriage that probably won't work, but that's another story. But it's just like he was kind of like insufferable about it. He was like, yeah, I did this for her, but I didn't really want to.
Right. And like and didn't even talk to her about it, but you want her to be thankful.
Yeah. I was like, oh, Shaq, why are you trying to damage your reputation with me for right now? Like,
yes. So that was over, and they decided to do like a date to go to this nursery that we are now
the famous nursery that Jennifer W. knows, the son of the owner.
3 degrees of separation.
Yeah. Exciting stuff.
Right. So we get a confessional from him saying like, okay, he wanted to take Kirsten here because this is something that means a lot to him. Like he really enjoys plants, and he wants to show her that this is another way they could spend quality time. He's like, because this is not going to be quality time for Kirsten. As if she's always nagging him about quality time.
He says, yeah, we need to spend more quality time because that's what Kirsten wants. Like, that's what he says. Like,
yeah,
what is wrong with you? Like, you don't like, because I got to do it because that's what she wants. I don't want to time with her, but she wants to time with me. So I guess I'll go ahead. It's like,
literally,
dude, what's wrong with you?
He says he in a confessional, he says he believes in fairy tales and he thinks that he can fall in love before decision day, but he's been so busy with work and school. So that's why he's hoping hoping this trip counts as quality time for her.
I wonder if Shaq will ever not be busy with school and work. This just seems like this might be a constant thing for him.
Yeah, it could be. Curious. No idea. So he says he's a landscaper. He tells her like he really likes watching things grow. He always names his plants. She's like, I'm learning in confessional. She's like, I'm learning so much about him. He really is into this plant life. And so they're trying to choose a plant for them together. And so they pass by like the snake plant. Like a pointy plant. She didn't like that. She's like, it's too pointy. They passed by a snake plant. She was like, that's kind of scaring me. And he was like, scaring you? So instead of asking like, oh, like what scares you about it? He's like automatically assuming that she totally understands this. Like, this is your thing. You should be introducing her to this, not being frustrated that she feels a way about a plant.
They had so many like differences of opinion here. Like I was like, what? Y'all just whatever one says, the other has to do the complete opposite thing.
Yeah. So he shows her this one plant, and she's like, oh, I don't really like the two colors. He's like, well, when I see these two plants, it's showing me two individuals joining as one. And he crosses his arms like, there, I said it. Because I was like, what is wrong? You're just trying to be a contrarian. Like, no matter what she didn't like, he was going to love it with all his heart.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that just kind of like flew right over Kristen's head. She's like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, she was like, I really like how he's sharing like his love for plants with me. I was like, girl, he was petty that entire time.
Did not get the passive aggressiveness.
She's like, whoa. I'm not seeing it. What are y'all talking about? He was the peak passive aggressive. He was at his peak with passive aggressiveness. So because he had that explanation, like two individuals joining as one, which he's probably never said about this particular plant. Then she's like, okay, that's fine. And so then they go to pick a smaller plant. And so he's showing her the two plant, or no, not the smaller plant. This is the plant. So they pick the plant, and so he picks up two. He's like, which one do you want? One has smaller leaves, one has bigger leaves. She's like, okay, I like the bigger leaves. He's like, well, I like the smaller leaves because you can watch them grow. Then he just looks at her, waits for a reaction.
Like us.
Just
Gross.
so annoying. And so then he names the plants exactly what they're named on the tag that's on the pot. And she's like, oh, we don't have to name them like what their names are on the thing. Like we can come up with our own names. He was like, you don't change their names.
Dummy.
It's like, this could have been a completely different trip had he taken the opportunity to teach her about the nursery, show her the different kinds of plants, and not judge her based on every single reaction she had.
You really had to plant explain her in this whole thing.
Right. So annoying. Gosh, like I remember when I was new to going to like buy plants. Like I didn't know anything. So it was just based off beauty, right? If something looked weird, I'm like, if I don't know anything about it, I'm not buying that plant. But now it's like, oh, if I know the name of a plant, oh, I can know this is a good indoor plant, right? I wouldn't have expected myself to know that going the first time. And so he approached this completely wrong. He set her up for failure, really.
Oh, yeah.
So then she decides to do something nice for him. She's in a robe. She's poured wine. There's candles everywhere. He comes home.
Hold on a second. Let me get ready for this.
Oh, God. You should have told me. I could have played the part.
Well, you have to read your notes.
Right. So Jason now has on an eye mask. So she got him a robe. She put the robe. He puts the robe on. Also, when everything was set up, he's like, "Oh, is this for me? This all for me?"
Oh,
no, it's for you and her other husband.
And you
I'm
hate
annoyed.
him. You hate him at this point now. You are finding anything to tear him apart with. It's so funny. It's hilarious.
When you're annoyed, everything annoys you.
God.
So
See the way he walked in?
He's not doing anything to help his marriage. So she says like she really likes catering to him and she just wants to show how she appreciates him. So she has this whole spa set up. She has like the foot with the water and the bubbles and or the foot thing. And so she says she wants to take things to the next level. And so he is in there. He got his feet in the thing. Do you have your feet in some water, Jason?
I don't. I have so many wires around here. I didn't want to change it.
You don't want to risk it.
Nah.
That's not on camera. And then he has on an eye mask and she puts her feet in water and she also has an eye mask. So this entire conversation from here on out, eyes are covered.
Yeah.
So
I need to get in the moment. So I had to put my eye mask on.
So she asks like, okay, what's one thing that I don't know about you? He's like, well, I have some insecurity issues about who I am. Like I've always known I've been different. Such as going bald in my 20s. That's been an insecurity. I had an insecurity about the scar on my head. And so he explains that. And she's like, well, I think you're handsome and I think you're striving for excellence. And I think it looks good on you.
See, this is what we're looking for, Kristen. Some positivity. Yeah. This was, I think Kirsten has come a long way since that first episode where she was just like, yeah, bald head, I'm out. So I think it's so weird how they're just like going at different, they're like passing each other now. And one is going up and one's going down. Right. It's crazy.
So I think this is a first. I don't know if is this a RHAP first? Like, has anybody podcasted
blind?
Yeah, with their eyes covered.
Yeah, I don't think I might even face in the right direction. I'm not even sure.
Right, all of a sudden your chair turned around.
Yeah.
So
discombobulated.
Right. So then he's like, okay, what's something I don't know about you? And she's like, well, there's like a ton of things that you don't know about me. And he's like, this is the moment he gets frustrated. He's like, why? Why don't I know why don't I know a ton of things about you? And she's like, well, we just have to keep talking. And like, sometimes I can be quiet. And he's like, well, that's something I know. Tell me something else that I don't know.
Yeah, he has had an ass full of Kirsten and her excuses. Like, yeah, I get that. You don't like you say we can't keep talking, but you don't talk.
Mm-hmm. And we get a confessional where he's like, she has these walls up. And I know she had that ex, but like, has she not gotten over it? It's like, okay. Tell me you don't care to know why.
I don't even know where that came from. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
"Are you even over your past relationship?" Like, where did that come from? Like, when
Just
did we start talking about our
unprompted.
past relationships?
Right. And so then he said, "Okay, well, I already know that, so tell me something else." She's like, "Well, I don't know. There's not too much more to know about me."
Okay, so now I'm like, okay, all right, I'm on Shaq's train now. I'm like, you
No, I'm
just
on nobody's train. I'm on neither of their trains.
for this moment, I'm like, bro, you just said there's so much I don't know, and now you're
She
saying I know everything. Like, which
she
is it?
backed away.
Ugh.
She
I was
read the
like,
moment, she read the tension and was like, "Matter of fact, I don't want to share. I'm
I
scared
take
to
that.
share."
I take that back.
Right. And
You know
I'm like,
everything.
here's the thing. I'm being hard on Shaq. I do understand his frustration with the fact that he's not going deeper with her. But
Mhm.
she does have such a guard up that she has to feel comfortable to do so. And I understand that he's frustrated, but that's just showing his lack of patience. Bruh, it's been 2.5 weeks.
Uh, yeah, but in those 2.5 weeks, you know that this is a accelerated process, and you're going to be a little more open. I don't think that she came in here with her eyes wide open in the process. I should say, with her eyes wide open, ready to be in this accelerated process. Because if it almost seems like she's never going to open up, if she has 8 weeks to open up, or he's going to be like, "I'm
That's how
peacing
he
out."
feels. But you've
Ye-
already said it. She already has made strides in the Kirsten we saw on day one.
Yeah,
I
that's
think he
true.
still needs to maintain a little bit of patience. Let's say we're 1 month in and she hasn't shared any teensy bit of vulnerability. Then, okay, now I'm starting to feel like it's never going to happen.
Yeah, but you gotta give me something, Kirsten. Like, you're not giving me like kisses. You're not giving me affection. I mean, you give me a little affection with like the little like touching or whatever, but you gotta give me something in this 2.5 weeks. You gotta give me a little something.
And that's absolutely where Kirsten can do better.
Mm-hmm.
Like little by little, she should be peeling back the layers.
Can
But
we?
by saying, "Oh, actually, yeah, there's not too much more to know," like Kirsten, come on, you could
Yeah,
have shared one thing.
right.
What's your childhood pet that you cared a lot about?
Yeah. Can we break down like what happened on with Kirsten on After Party? Like, what did you get from that?
Okay, so on the after party, Kirsten broke down crying with Rudy. So Rudy was questioning her, like, "Can you see where Shaq was coming from? And like how you could have opened up more?" That's basically Rudy's perspective. It was like, "Yeah, you could have opened up a little bit more."
Mhm.
Kirsten, I can't remember what she was saying that right before, but she kind of stopped, and because it was about her opening up. She
Mhm.
stopped, she got a little bit emotional, she started crying. Rudy came over, hugged her, was there for her in that moment, which I really like to see from Rudy. I was like, "You are such a great host of this. This is your cup of tea," because she's honest about how she feels, but also treats them like human beings.
Well, that's what I love about Rudy, right? She's not just repeating what she's hearing in her ear from
Yeah.
producers, which I think was a big criticism of Jamie Otis when she used to
Yes.
host the show. What was it called back then?
Uh oh.
Unfiltered, maybe?
Yes, I think it was
Yeah.
Unfiltered.
But Rudy seems like she is really invested, and she cares about these people. She had a similar moment to this a couple seasons ago with Elijah Wan and Mike
Mhm.
when they were talking. I think they were talking about like black men having feelings or something. I don't exactly
Oh
remember what it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
she like had this like really breakthrough moment with them. So that's what you get when you have Rudy as the host. You get real human like empathy and emotion, I think, which is really what makes her a great host of this show.
Absolutely. Yeah, and the way that I read this was she was getting so Kirsten was getting emotional about the lack of opening up, and it was like I felt like she was processing why she has her guard up, but also at the same time processing the relationship with Shaq. And it's like it was such a raw moment that they try to act like they're in the moment as of the
Oh,
episode.
by the way, can we talk about the audience participation?
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
what is this?
They had these questions, quote unquote, from people on Twitter who are watching the episode, this is
Who
pre-taped.
who do y'all think you're fooling? Like, these are questions y'all came up with in the production meeting.
They're like, Ashley from Tallahassee said.
They didn't even give us a Twitter handle. Like, they didn't
Yeah.
give us any kind of like social media handle for us to go check this ourselves because they knew we would, and they knew we would find nothing.
I was
So
like, y'all
who
are
do y'all
not
think you
fooling
fooling?
us.
Like, y'all, come on.
Yeah.
So I read this like at first. Kirsten was. I thought she was trying to front again. She was like, well, you know, there's just not much to me. I try to be a role model to my brothers and sisters. I try and be inspiring, but other than that, there's not much. And then she just kind of got emotional and was like,
yeah.
and then it turned into like, it's not easy for me to open up and to share my imperfections. I think is what Rudy got out of it, because that's what Rudy came back at her with, was like, don't be afraid to share your imperfections or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Rudy got up with her pregnant self and walked over to Kirsten, gave her a hug, and everybody's getting emotional.
Yeah, literally, Jasmine was crying, and
Gina was able to squeeze out a tear. Show emotion.
I wasn't even gonna give her that.
Maybe she pretended she was, 'cause everybody else was.
She said, "Let me grab a napkin or something." But I definitely read it as like, if their marriage doesn't work out, she could be thinking in her mind like her lack of opening up was the sole reason.
Yeah, so you think in that moment it's because she is regretting that the marriage didn't work out, because this is taped after decision day, and she maybe thinks that her lack of opening up had a lot to do with the marriage failing.
Yeah,
so some future casting on our parts. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm thinking, because it felt so raw. Like, I can't conjure up tears for how I felt about something in the moment in the past when things have changed since then, you know?
Yeah, I feel you.
So,
I can't see you, but I feel what you're saying.
But you can feel me. Gotcha. So then, yeah, so he said, so she says she doesn't know, she doesn't have anything. He was like, this is that wall we were talking about. You got that big wall up. This is that guard. You need to lay down.
This is Daddy Shack coming out. This is Lecture Shack, coaching her, basically.
Yeah. And then she's still like, oh, well, she's trying to think of something to share with him. He's like, your walls are so tall. And then he says, like, he doesn't want decision day to come, and he's still feeling how he feels like right now. Like, he wants to know that she can bring down, or like he can bring down those walls. Like, what can he do to help bring down those walls? And he needs her to be 100% vulnerable. And so he says all this. He's frustrated, clearly visibly frustrated. This woman goes, thank you so much for being patient with me.
Well, yeah, thanks for taking the ride with me. Thanks for being patient, but I got nothing else for you, big man.
The definition of cannot read a room. You got what is it, Bates Nursery, and this scene where Kirsten was just completely not there. Like, girl, look around.
I'm gonna take off this eye mask now because it's getting too comfortable. Oh my gosh, that's
you're gonna
terrible.
fall asleep. I'm like,
the lights are like, the lights are too bright now. But anyway, is Kirsten like in witness protection or something, and she cannot like reveal any details about herself? Because that's what, like, she had the no furniture in the apartment. Was this like a fake apartment? Is she is she not a real? Isn't that her real identity? Is she on the run or something? Because this feels odd. Like, feels like maybe this is a false personality that we're getting. Like, is
here, I got one for you. Is Kirsten someone a character she's playing?
Is she gonna break out the manly voice in a heartbeat?
Y'all, we talked about this right before we started recording, but Jason watches Catfish weekly, apparently.
Sorry, guilty as charged. I like Catfish, and this week's episode was a doozy.
Yeah, I was intrigued because I used to be faithful to Catfish, but I haven't watched it in years. And so when you tweeted about it, I was like, okay, let me check it out. Oh my gosh, that episode was wild. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if
don't
you
know.
want to know more, just check out the last 20 minutes of the latest Catfish episode, and you'll see what we're talking about.
Yes.
With different personalities. So we'll just say that. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I don't know what Kirsten's thing is. Like, is this a fake personality? Is she on the run?
You know, we did see with Katina. Katina did have a hard time opening up.
You about to see the real Katina right now.
She had a hard time opening up on camera, at least. I think the trouble here is like Kirsten's not even opening up off camera. And so then you have this very frustrated Shaq who doesn't know how to break in, which is why the experts are so important. They need help.
Boy, if only there was some system set up where they could talk to people who are real professionals that could help them with their issues. Listen, there should be an expert at the very least. Every other episode. Yeah, on call. Yeah. But every other episode, they should be meeting with an expert. Mm-hmm. We are going 2-3 episodes without meeting with experts.
Yep.
And ideally, we should have an expert every episode. You know, all these other international versions of Married at First Sight, they have weekly meetings with experts. Granted, it's with everyone else in the room, which is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
But that's what should be happening. We have 4 experts now. There's no excuse for them not to have an expert every week. Like, they should not be getting a knock on the door and a card left on the floor for the pickup and do the task themselves so they can just half-ass it if they want to.
Yeah.
They should be, you know, I don't want to say confronted because that sounds a little aggressive, but like, they should be
held accountable,
made to dig deeper than the surface answers they are giving.
Yep.
And I think that would help greatly because, like, they can't do it themselves. They're like,
yeah. And if Dr. Pepper, I know she wrote a book recently with Dr. Jessica. Mm-hmm. And if Pastor Cal is busy with other engagements, put Dr. Pia to work. You know, like, you have her here.
If you're in a real tight spot, we'll take Devon.
Right. If we really need it,
if we gotta take a last resort.
Right.
You get somebody in there.
Really, because the problem is these experts come in when it's too late. These people are already over it. Mm-hmm. Like, right now is that sweet spot where Shaq is very frustrated, but he's still as present as he wants to be.
He's on the edge.
Like, he's about a week away from being like, this isn't going to work. This isn't for me.
And I mean, we see next week in the preview that he's just like, he's still like, how can I be in a marriage with you if you don't want to, like, open up to me? Like, how is this going to work?
So, like, he's like, it's not all about Kirsten. I'm sorry that she has a needs. Like, you know what I bet you, I can't wait till next week to see, but I bet you he's blowing this out of proportion with her saying something that she needs and him. But what about me? I'm trying to be happy. I got to go to the gym.
Aysha is fed up. Is done.
And I know, yes, I do agree. Kirsten is not helping herself by not just little by little peel that layer back. What you can, what you're comfortable doing, even if it's off camera.
I just don't understand, like, what is the big, like, secret that Kirsten has to let out about herself? Like, what is the big, like, thing she has to get off her chest?
I don't think there is that big of a thing.
So what is the big hubbub about? Like, I don't get it. What is the kissing about? What is that about?
We just don't understand her.
We don't. It's hard because she won't let us understand her. I'm about to get like Shaq. You won't open up for us to let us know who you are.
Your wall is so tall.
All I know about you is that you want a man with a 7 to 8 inch penis, like, from what you said earlier in the season, and that was weird,
right? Which most people have probably forgot that. I know I did.
That seemed like a different Kirsten, than what we're getting now. I'm confused. I'm very confused.
Telling you, if you had given her someone else that she was physically attracted to, could have been a different story.
Do you think if they gave her Eris and him Jasmine, do you think this would be a better match? Do you think that would have been a better situation?
Oh, Actually, yeah. Well, would
'Cause listen,
Kirsten have thought Eris was too short?
I don't know about that. I feel like Jasmine and Shaq both be like, we both doing our own things. We can spend time with each other when we can, but we are both are busy.
Right. Yeah. I more so could see it with Shaq and Jasmine over
Mhm.
Kirsten and Eris. But yeah, I don't
Hey.
know. So let's rate them. We've been at consistent 3s. What are you at today?
Man, I'm at like a 3.1. And if they keep up with this nonsense, they're gonna go down to a 2. This is y'all's warning, Shaq and Kirsten. Keep up with the nonsense, I'm gonna have to bring it down to a 2. But for right now, I'll stay at my 3, but it's teetering on the edge.
I give no warnings. I'm at a 2.
Oh, you done it now, Shaq.
First and foremost, Kirsten, yes, you need to take baby steps to opening up. Right now, to Shaq, it looks like she's like standing still, 10 toes down, not moving at all.
Mhm.
She should not have backed out. He did have negative energy, negative vibes when he's frustrated that she said that he didn't know a lot about her. But she should not have backed out of that and be like, oh, actually, you know everything about me. You should write my autobiography.
You know, on second thought, you know everything there is to need to know.
Right? That's it. But yeah, Shaq, come on. You do need a little bit of patience. Y'all got to work together.
But is there a chance that she was like, yeah, there's so much you don't know about me? He called her bluff and she was like,
Wait.
you know what?
There is nothing.
There's nothing else. I'm pretty basic. Like, I got
Good.
nothing. On
That's
second, like, listen, that you got me.
100% what I think.
I'm not deep. I am who I am. So
Right.
you got me.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think there is a lack of stuff to share,
Mhm.
which is why I think another thing I do think, which I'm trying to say this in the nicest way possible. I do think that he is looking for a little bit more mental stimulation in their conversations.
Okay. Basically, I'm not even gonna say it. I want
Basically
to say
that.
it,
That's
but I'm
it.
not.
That's
Y'all
it.
y'all can read between the lines, I'm sure. I don't need to spell it out for anyone out there when Asia says that. But yeah, maybe. I can see that. I mean,
It could be
he is a
that.
man of higher education.
Yeah.
So maybe he's looking for a little more conversation that is more appealing to him. I don't know.
Right. Which just could not be a good match. And you're only going to frustrate yourselves trying to force it to work.
I think there's a lot about them that is a good match, but maybe those couple of things that aren't good
are too big.
We'll tank it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a solid 2, unless they maybe things will turn around next week. They'll start making some strides in the right direction. But I felt like this was some strides in the wrong direction this episode. So, all right. That was episode 10. It was a boring episode, but hopefully we gave y'all something to enjoy.
We can squeeze some water out of stones if we need to. Right. And we did. I mean, we're here at almost 2.5 hours again. We're like
with 4 couples.
You would think with one less couple, we ought to go under 2. But hey, it's us. We love to talk about the show, so you can't really hate us for that. We love our job, so sorry.
Yes.
Sorry, not sorry.
It's right. Thank y'all so much for listening and sticking with us. Jason, what are you up to? What have you been talking about these days?
You can find me over on Twitter, JAYR1085. Wrapped up some stuff. Wrapped up Perfect Match with Aysha and Kirsten, so you can check that out if you're late to the party on the Netflix show Perfect Match. Me, Aysha, and Kirsten did that coverage. Still talking about Dear Edward over on post show recaps. Having fun with Marissa Garza, talking about that depressing / weird show.
Oh, is it weird?
So in certain ways, some characters motivations are odd to say the least.
Mm.
This past week, I talked to Rob, Akiva, and Chappelle over on Rob and Akiva Need Podcast about the greatest TV dads bracket. The result was, it wasn't interesting. It was what you might think if you given the people that we had. You would look at the result and say, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that out. See what you thought about our process, about our choices in that. That's pretty much it for me right now. Aysha, what about you?
Yeah, y'all can follow me on Twitter at Aysha like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. You also could follow my dogs on TikTok at Malshi Poo Sisters. I joined Taryn and Chappelle to talk about the Big Brother Canada season 11 premiere. So you could catch that if you are, we talked about our Canadian listeners at the beginning. If y'all are watching Big Brother Canada,
Oh,
you
that's still
could.
happening? I thought they canceled it after they,
No,
decided not to do
just
live
the
feeds this season.
just the live feed. So the show is still on. But yeah, we talked about the premiere. And I also, over on post show recaps, I joined Mary Kukowski and Sarah Carradine to talk about Outer Banks episodes 9 and 10 of season 3. So if you've caught up on Outer Banks, season 3 only dropped like a couple weeks ago. So if you've caught up on season 3, definitely go listen to the coverage. And I am on the episode 9 and 10 podcast episode. And I think that is it. Yes, that is it for now. So yes, thank y'all so much for sticking with us. Make sure you go subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Also, go join the Facebook group this week. The Facebook password is 3Fs. But we will be back next week to talk about episode 11. So we'll see y'all next week. Bye.